And hello, everyone. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Sorry about that. My computer's got some gremlins in it. Hey, it's been tired. All right, it's had a long week of active weather that it's had to deal with. Poor little thing. Ain't in there. We're almost there. Long way to go. All right, can you guys hear me? See me okay? Everyone good? Type 3 if you're good. Everyone good shape here on this cold, frigid Thursday morning as we wait another winter storm coming our way. I'm meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to SnowTALK. This is our daily blog where we have a chance to look at all of our chances for snow and any type of weather, really. But usually this time of year, it's about snow, but it's not always about snow. Usually it seems like severe weather gets involved sometimes in January. But this year has been a typical January, it seems like so far. And potential is there. If we were to get just even a half inch of snow tomorrow, which we easily will, that would then put us in the top 10 of snowiest Januaries on record in Louisville. Isn't that remarkable? It gets us on the board there with the 70s and the 90s as far as those lists there. Okay, more on that into the coming days. Here are our snow chances where we stand right now. Obviously, we've got the winter storm for tomorrow night. We got a few snow showers as we head into your late Sunday, early Monday time period. And then as we head into about next Wednesday or Thursday, there's a clipper that could dive in. I'll show you that. And so some questions whether or not that will aim right toward our area or not to give us some light snow. It's going to be another Arctic front. And then later in the month, I still see an opportunity to get some rain, maybe a one-day shot of some rain. Otherwise, it would go back over to snow again as we get colder for the latter portion of the month itself. All right, so let's dive right into it. We'll begin first off with the numbers that we had this morning. Louisville looks like it dropped to about 12 or 13, and we knew Louisville was going to be a little odd with the drop because that's been the case the past several nights. But everywhere else, you see we had 3 below 0 in North Vernon, 1 in Madison, 1 in Jeffersonville, 0 in Bedford. I checked in Meade County, Brandenburg, 4 below 0 this morning. So not every spot can be plotted here, but I'm sure that if you had your own backyard thermometer that you likely hit in the single digits, and some of you probably did slip below 0. So check it out and let us know. Type in the chat if you did get a little temperature in that range there. All right. Oh, got a spammer. Hold on. And get rid of the spammer. There we go. Got rid of him. All right. What did you say, Adam? You got the three last night, 3 lonely degrees. Okay. So where do we go from here? Well, first off, current temperatures have improved somewhat. 17 here, 4 in Bedford, 10 in Jeffersonville. Now, here's the thing. We are getting sunshine in the area today. That's a weather issue. We'll worry about that. We're getting some sunshine in the area today, but that is actually going to allow for some melting. And it may seem a little odd because we're going to stay below freezing, but the sun rays themselves, the energy from the sun will melt the snow in this setup. In shady areas of your yard or roads that are in the shade, no change. But in areas that side roads right now, if the sun can hit them, it will activate a lot of the salt that has been put down. And in some cases, don't even need the salt. It will start to improve. So we should see some improvements on even those really icy side roads today. It may not be perfect, but you should notice a difference as the day evolves. Now, we're only going to refreeze that up again tonight and add more snow on it tomorrow. So it's a temporary break. But really, this last winter storm that we had on Sunday, Monday, the biggest issue we had with that was the freeze and rain and the sleet. If we didn't have that, it would have been a lot easier for us to get around. But now that we've had that layer, it's the hardest one to get out. You can't just plow that away. You've got to get it chopped up. You got to get salt involved, and salt doesn't really work at this level, or at least not as effective at this cold of a temperature. So there's a lot of issues that come into play with that kind of a recipe. This next snow is going to be a fluffy snow, it looks like. It looked like it was going to be a wet snow, but it is trending with a higher ratio of about 14 to 1 now instead of the 10 to 1. So the totals have increased in the potential in some areas just because of the fluffy nature of that. But the plus side to this, and I know you guys are dreading, well, some of you are dreading more snow. The snow lovers, and there's a lot of you on here, are okay with it. You're excited. But those that are dreading driving on it, this will at least give you some traction on some of those nasty side roads. Just be careful on spinning out. Because if you spin out on those side roads, you get through the fluffy snow, and then you'll hit that ice layer again. But now you've dug into a trench, and it's going to be much harder to get out than what it is right now. So it's kind of a mix of good and bad news. I'm just hoping that today the sun hits a lot of our area roads and at least tries to improve them. That, I think, is going to be a big plus. We'll see. All right, this is the image. I put this out on social media not long ago, but I love this because now the clouds have cleared out. We're able to see the snow on the ground. Into Wave Country, you could see all the different, especially the Wabash area, all the tributaries going down toward the Mississippi and the Ohio River. You can tell where higher elevations are. This is why the bluegrass area of Kentucky, we mention this often, they tend to get more snow, sometimes stronger wind gusts in Lexington. And that's mainly because of their area of Kentucky is a little higher, obviously, than what even Louisville is. So they are a little bit higher up. And so therefore the snow does show up better in that area. But you get into Kentucky, there is snow on the ground in those darker areas. You just don't see it as much because it's more of the valleys that are showing up there. Okay. Anyway, just kind of a nerdy science moment. I love looking at visible satellite. I think it's really, very cool. All right, let's move on. So as we're tracking a beautiful sunny day today, just cold, we have a chance to hopefully get some errands done that we can, if we can get out and get that taken care of, because we know what's coming our way. And this is it. The winter storm has already developed into the Four Corners area, rolling on out into the Lone Star State and into Oklahoma. Boy, what a mess, though, for Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. They've got freezing rain and sleet at the moment. Snow now moving into Oklahoma City, and you can see just a mess in this area. Now, they have the equipment in some areas to take care of roads in these scenarios, but once you get a little more into Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, the amount of equipment to handle these messy conditions starts to drop off. So their impacts are different compared to what we would have if we had that kind of same scenario, but still just messy travel in general in the southern part of the United States. But there's the snow falling. In fact, let me show you. You saw a hint of this a second ago, but this is what it looks like right now in Oklahoma City, where the snow is flying. They're expecting about 5, maybe 6 inches of snow. Very similar, actually, to what I think we're going to see as far as totals in our area as well. But pretty snow there into Oklahoma. All right, so here are all the alerts. And this is, we see this maybe once or twice a winter sometimes, but I think once or twice is fair to say that we usually get a southern winter storm, right? And boy, these really stand out because they just don't happen very often in the deep south. But look at all these winter storm warnings. I mean, nearly the entire state of Arkansas, good chunk of Kentucky likely will eventually be under a warning, and then a good chunk of Tennessee will likely be upgraded. These watches in eastern areas of our states will likely get upgraded as early as, say, midday today. So we should see a lot of pink there for warnings that are out, advisories to the north. I'll show you a closer view of this coming up in just a second. Let's start with Futurecast. Let's get right to it. I'm not going to waste your time here today. Today, no problems. Tomorrow, now, I will say tonight we could, in some areas away from the city, drop briefly again in the single digits, but it's only for a couple of hours. Temperature should actually rise toward tomorrow morning as we get a south wind that is going to help bring moisture back in the area, but not enough warmth to get us above freezing and turn it into rain or ice. So it's like the perfect balancing of the warm. We always say that. You want warmer air. If you want to snow, you want warmer air, but you don't want too much or it goes over to something else other than snow. This is one of those scenarios that we're so cold that even with a warm up, it still stays snow. That should tell you something. Now, the snow is going to break out during the morning hours on tomorrow. Now, I don't think it's going to be around in the morning as far as the morning commute, but just after that, I would say about this time tomorrow when I'm on, we should have snow falling. It'll be patchy and light to start with, but it will likely start to stick and accumulate fairly quick. We get past lunch tomorrow, and as I mentioned before, the afternoon commute is the core window. If I had to put a time frame that I'm most concerned about for travel and the heaviest of snow, I'm going to go with 3 to 9 or 3 to 10 p.m. 3 to 10 p.m. Let's go with that. 3 to 10 p.m. will likely be the heaviest of snow and the worst of the driving conditions. So whatever you got planned tomorrow, try to be back home in that 3 to 10 window. Or even later, obviously, but certainly about 3 o'clock. It may start snowing by 10 or 11, but I don't see a lot of problems until it gets a little bit heavier into the early afternoon. But this is a snapshot at 3 o'clock. Here's where the snow comes into play. Now, the challenge here we've got, and I'll try to explain this the best I can, is it's still an issue of a phasing system. We've got a northern piece and a southern piece. They do briefly try to shake hands, and that allows for some banding and some enhancement of some snowfall across Indiana and Kentucky. It's a very unusual setup because while we've got the southern winter storm tracking with the heaviest of snow across mainly Tennessee, grazing southern Kentucky, because of the northern feature, bands of snow will develop to the north. And Indiana, I think you could get a decent snow out of this as well. But it also means that there could be some areas in between the two where you will get lower amounts. You may have a bit lower moisture content. So how in the world are we going to draw a snow map with that idea at play? Because we will see those differences. Well, here's the good news. I don't think they're going to be stark enough to where I don't think anyone's going to be really upset if you're off by 1 or 2 inches from what the data is about to show here. But at least just want to mention that I think based on that idea of the phasing and the 2 waves, this should give everyone a solid covering of snow that could average several inches. Okay, so that's it's a teamwork of the 2 systems. If we only had the southern wave, I wouldn't be as worried. It's certainly for Indiana. I think it would be all southern Kentucky. But because we have the phasing going on, it brings that potential for snow even further north into Indiana. Okay, I'll show you the snow maps here in a second on amounts. Here it is, 8 o'clock, still snowing, temperatures in the 20s. We get to about midnight, it eases the flurries. The accumulating part should be over, but flurries, usually in this scenario, they linger and linger and linger. They take a while to move completely out. So that is going to be the case throughout the day. Tomorrow, I don't see it's going to be about freezing, and whether or not we get some sunshine, possible, but as usually the case, when you get a fresh snowpack, it takes a while to break up the clouds. So bet on clouds for now and hope for sunshine. All right, some of the data. Let me share some of this with you. This is these are the Schref ensembles. I try to show you different types of data all the time that we look at. There's a lot out there. There's a lot. It makes your brain hurt, but at least want to give you some behind the scenes look. And I know these numbers are very hard to read, but this is a Schref, this model, which is a short range model. I like it for snowfall. I think it does decent because it gives you all the different ideas of the snowfall as we get into Friday. See the amounts go up of where it could be. Now, you can't see the numbers very well, but this is going to be roughly right through here is the 2-inch. Oh, I can't draw. Here's the 2-inch line. And as you get to about here is the 4-inch line, and then your 6-inch lines up here. And of course, your 2 and 3 are listed. It has a different range, and it gives the median. And the median right now is roughly coming in at right now at about 3 to 3.5 inches. for Louisville. But you see the range that it's giving is anywhere from 1 to 6 on the potential that the system has. At least according to this particular model, it sees that potential, but it likes the middle of the road, which is roughly in the 3 to 4 range. And I think that is very fair based on the amount of moisture I've seen. I think that makes sense. The Matrix, you guys love the Matrix from the Euro ensembles. Well, there you go. Every one of them filled in, and most of them are blue. So now we can look at the numbers, and it helps by giving an average here, which is 3 inches. So again, it's a decent covering of snowfall. So confidence is very high on accumulating snow. It's more than 95% chance here of getting a couple of inches, and maybe even higher in some cases of getting more. All right. Once we get beyond this wave for tomorrow, well, yeah, there's several snow chances, but it's noisy. Again, it's not lining up perfectly to really get a strong signal yet. The model's just having a really tough time once we get later into January, but the pattern will likely keep repeating itself. So here's where we stand on the alerts. Today, the winter storm warning is out for southern Indiana, Louisville, all the way to the south. The National Weather Service in Indianapolis decided not to go with a warning because their criteria is a little different. All right, a little bit of a stricter criteria for the Indiana counties, starting in Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence. So therefore, the amounts will be generally the same, whether you're in Washington County or you're in Jackson County. But the criteria is different, so you get a different title. Don't get caught up on that. It's really a mute issue now. I think overall, I think everyone knows snow's coming. So just want to mention, as these alerts fly by, this is what they all mean. I think everyone's going to be in the same boat. So as far as the amounts, and Tawana and I were looking at this, and we're trying to figure out how do we explain the enhancement of the bands into, sorry about that, the enhancement of the bands across Indiana, and also the southern track of the heavier snow near the Tennessee border. So I kind of altered our snow forecast a bit on our chart. Normally I have like a 2 to 4. I think 2 to 5 is going to be a very common range for all of you. Now, there could be some spots that could get a 5.5 or even a 6.2. Some data suggests that is reachable, so I can't rule it out. But I think that's the exception rather than the rule, because overall, I think we're going to get a lot of 3 and 4 inch numbers, a lot of 3 and 4 inch numbers. The issue I'm concerned about, and why I don't have a 4 to 6 range all across this chart, is going to be where there could be some of that weakening of the snow bands and a little bit of a lower total. I don't want to draw that and confuse you guys. I think it's a lot simpler for me just to say 2 to 5. And if you want to peg me to a number, 3.5 for Louisville. We'll go with that. Fluffy snow gives us some traction. That's the plus side, but it will add a little bit more of a weight there to the roofs and to some of the trees there. So keep that in mind. Hopefully we'll get this off the roofs, and before it does go from a fluffy snow and condenses and packs down to heavier snow, that's when the weight really compresses on the rooftop. So because some of you are going to have back up to a foot on the ground again with this type of snow coming in, because we haven't really lost much, right? So most of us have about a half a foot or so on the ground. So another 3 to 4 inches, we're getting back up there again. Be careful traveling with this moving on by the area. All right, before I get into the rest of the outlook, is everyone good and clear on that? I know I didn't put the timing in. I should have. But to clarify again, roughly the morning commute tomorrow, you're okay. 10 to 11 a.m., the snow will begin. It will start to cause problems in a few spots, but the most concerning time frame tomorrow is 3 to 10 p.m. for the heaviest of the snow and the worst of the driving conditions when you combine visibility and the accumulating snow part of it all. 3 to 10 p.m. Everyone clear? Good. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's move on. This is not going to be as big of a snow as we just had, and it's not as complex with the different precip types involved. So this is a fairly easy one to not only predict, but track and get through. You take a brush, you can get that snow off of your car very, very quick. So this is a lot easier to maintain, and it's a Friday. So hopefully, I'm going to go this weekend. But just be careful. And we're going to watch the data trends today and see what happens in Oklahoma and Texas, and we'll keep you updated. Okay. We get into the weekend. I mentioned Saturday's going to be cold. Sunday, there is a chance we could get above freezing on Sunday. I don't know yet. It depends on how much of a snowpack we have. So I'm very suspect of any warm-ups, but there's a chance. But at least we may get close enough to where we can get some melting, especially on those side roads again, only to have more snow arrive. Yay. As we head into Monday morning. This is going to be very similar to what we had yesterday. A wave of snow showers and flurries. Not a lot of moisture with it, but enough that you could get another half inch of snow out of these snow showers late Sunday to Monday. I can't rule that out. A quick little coating of snow, maybe up to an inch of snow. The timing will be near the morning commute on Monday. So could there be more issues with schools next week? Who knows? You may get to school at some point in April. We'll see how this works out. But it will then allow for another Arctic plunge and more scattered flurries as we head into parts of Tuesday and Wednesday. Here's the clipper on Thursday. The models, again, the Euro likes it a little more east, some bring it a little more west. We'll figure that out later. It just depends on the shape of the trough there, the dig in the eastern United States, and how fast everything moves out of the way. If it's a little slower to move out of the way, then that clipper is going to aim right to us a week from today. And that one would be another light accumulating snow event. It could even be an advisory event. That kind of a setup can be, especially with that much cold air coming in. So, yeah, the hits just to keep on coming, guys, as we head into next week. But look at that. We got green. Rain is showing up for that one-day little surge of warmth. Now, the Euro yesterday said, no, it's not going to happen after it tried to hint that it would. It backed away from it, said, no, it's going to be snow. And then last night, this morning, it updated. Now it's back to rain again. We'll see what it does in about 2 hours when it updates again. Maybe it'll go back to snow. Again, models, hard to trust them when we get into the longer range just because we've got a developing snowpack yet. And the models don't really entirely know how much snow we're going to get tomorrow in their math formula in predicting the future. So we have to give the storm a chance to hit first and then figure out the longer term. But overall, it looks like the pattern of repeating cold snaps is going to continue. All right, let's get right into the 10-day here. And again, we've got temperatures today into the 20s. And you can see we've got the alert day there for the snow on Friday. We'll be optimistic on Sunday. We'll see if that happens there for getting near freezing or above. It would only be brief, an hour or two, but that will help. That will help the side roads. And then you see the temperatures drop. There's that plunge with snow showers. And then there's that 40. I know. Who said that? Somebody was excited. There's Adam. He's all excited about that 40. Hey, we're going to be optimistic and try to go that route and see if we can get maybe some rain before we go to snow. Josh, can you explain the difference between the Euro and the GFS? Well, the GFS is a United States model. We produce that, United States. The Euro, of course, is sent out of United Kingdom. They take care of that over into England and producing that model. The Euro gets more upgrades because it is not a government-controlled weather model. It's privately controlled, so they are able to do updates. The United States GFS is government-controlled, and therefore the updates do take a little longer to fine-tune. So the Euro tends to have a better track record because it keeps up with the changes in data and the more we learn about meteorology. GFS doesn't do bad, though. Actually did fairly well with the last winter storm. So it does have its moments, but they all have their different biases. But that's the main difference. It's the global forecast system, GFS, and the Euro is obviously European model. It's the differences there. We have a Canadian model. We have a Japanese model. We have a Korean model. We have the Australian model as well. But their data is not as detailed, especially for our area in the United States. So that's the reason why I don't show them a whole lot on that end. Although the Japanese model does fairly well, especially in hurricanes. Okay, so good question, though. I appreciate you asking that. Anything else I can try to help you with? Allie, this will be a dry snow. It looked like it would be a wet snow originally with a 10-to-1 type of ratio. Now it's looking to be fluffier. So a broom brush should hurt that. Danielle, I've heard 1 to 3 and 3 to 6. What are we looking at in Louisville? Well, that's the thing. The moisture content is about the same. The difference is that it looks like we're going to be just a little colder in the air above our head. Therefore, you've got the same amount, but at first it looked like it would be compacted down to a little more of a 1 to 3 range. Now that we've got a colder profile, I'm getting real technical, in the atmosphere, you can actually get more bang for your buck. So therefore, it fluffs just a little bit higher, and therefore you can get those amounts of 4 to 5 inches. So I think in Louisville, 3 to 4 is going to be very, very common for Louisville. Any risk for ice, Ben, on Friday? Nope, only just from any melting that would happen. And the ice layer that's underneath all this, that will be underneath all this, that's still going to be there. So be careful. Wayne, why does the National Weather Service say 3 to 6 and you're being more conservative, saying 2 to 5? I don't think I'm being more conservative, Wayne. I'm being more realistic of what I think will be the most common number. I think anything on the lower end is going to be an exception to the rule, and I think a 6-inch is going to be the exception to the rule. The most common range is going to be 2 to 5, and I think here in Louisville, a 3 to 4 is going to be fairly common on that. Again, there will be some areas where those bands that form, there's going to be gaps in between, and I'm still seeing some data that has some lower totals mixed into all this. So that's the reason why I don't want to get everyone too worked up on higher totals when there could be some areas that underperform. All right, hope that makes sense. All right, so there you go, guys. I'm going to leave it at that for now. I know you guys have a million questions on your location, schools. I can't answer questions on schools. That's not my job on that. We'll keep you updated on that. I'm sure JCPS is monitoring the road conditions. Let's hope, though, that today we get enough of those sun rays to improve those side roads. I do think there will be some improvement. Keep us updated on how your roads look. They're bad now, how they evolve throughout the day today. All right, we'll be on here today with several updates on the news side, and of course, social media will keep you updated as well. I appreciate you all. You take care of yourselves, and it'll be a fun day tomorrow. We'll see how this turns out.